Just take that in. Spectacular, isn't it? This eastern area is all rolling hills and conifers. There's a line of mountains in the centre of the reserve. Oh, and native beech forest. And a lot of rain on the other side. Right, so remember Josh's little prank? This place doesn't receive a lot of government funding, unfortunately, and a couple of years ago we were running out of money for field research, and the outposts were in need of sprucing up. So I guess you could say we made a deal with the devil, the Hollywood devil to be exact. Long story short, they've just wrapped up filming for the final movie they were contracted to do. Some fantasy thing, shiny blade or shimmering dagger or something. Now let me check. Ah, resplendent sword. I'll send you the blurb they gave me. My nephew tells me it's a big deal, but I'd certainly never heard of it before this. But yeah, as nice as it is that Te Awaroa's beauty is up on the silver screen for all to see, it's come with its share of problems, to say the least. The bigwigs left in a hurry, and we got left with a bunch of basically intact movie sets scattered here and there all over the reserve. Well, I'm telling you all of this because Josh just rang me up and said that he spotted another set on his way back. Not far from where I wanted you to try filming your first hunt. Can I trouble you to go clear it out? We can't run the risk of any of the props from the film featuring in our footage. Cheers. Tricky little fella, eh? If at first you don't succeed and all that, you'll get the next one. Running low. The outposts have ammo of all kinds and more besides. to it. This isn't even the worst of it. Right, let's take it one by one. Just bundle them into crates and I'll get someone to swing by later and transport them out of the reserve. Are those real oranges? Good enough to eat, eh? Quite the medieval fair. Looks more than a bit incongruous out here if you ask me. They didn't have an actual fire in that thing. Imagine if some silly townie kid had wandered over here and decided it would be a good idea. That's the last of them. What's that note? Props list. Foam statue of haughty elf standing prow, 9 foam warriors, 8 golden goblets, 3 green screens. This reads like a Christmas carol. See any of those? Bit dodgy. Townies must have been up here. Well, even though this isn't our mess to clean up, I should probably ask around and see if anyone knows what's happened to the missing props. The last thing we need is to get blamed for this. Maybe they did a very selective sweep. I'll see if anyone has a bigwig's numbers. Thanks for your help, Ehor. Let's move on. Before you head off and film your hunts, first we've got to set the scene, so to speak. The marketing team's looking for some photos for the reserve website, something to give people a taste of what this place has to offer. Now that we've dealt with that bloody mess, you think you could head over to Lake Wakaiti and snap a few shots for us? There's a willow tree there growing right out of the water that all the influencers or whatever they call themselves go bonkers for. It does make for a good photo op, I'll give it that. This is one of the hunting spots my mentor used to take me out to. Bound to be something worth stalking in the area. If you're wondering why there's no one around, it's because the reserve is officially closed to visitors for the foreseeable future. And definitely conducting emergency field research, we said. If that's what it takes to get the day trippers to clear out for a hot minute, so be it. I swear I haven't seen this place so deserted in about 10 years. Ah, it's lovely, actually. Even if I can only experience it through you. We used to camp out here when I was little. Tramp over from the other side. Me and a gaggle of other kids carrying backpacks bigger than our whole bodies. Not much of that lifestyle left these days. I miss it sometimes. Don't fall in now. Wouldn't be the first time that's happened here. That'll do. It's looking well. We had some hoon try to saw off one of the branches a few weeks ago. Can you believe? Well, luckily someone managed to talk him out of it. Sometimes wedding parties will have the brides come up and sit on it. Wade right into the water and soak those dear dresses. That tree is 80 years old. Started off as a stray branch nailed to a fence. It's a tribute to tenacity, if you ask me. Right, now for our next destination. Head down to the shoreline. There's a set of huge boulders there that have to be seen to be believed. I know what you're thinking. She's showing me some rocks. But trust me on this one. Our beaches are buzzing with natural activity. At least they used to be. You get more and more rubbish washed up all over the place lately. You know, bits of plastic pellets, runoff from factories further north. I swear I've seen tin cans with Australian brand names. We do our best, but we can't always prevent the poor critters ending up with junk in their bellies. Anyway, that's the situation. I'll get back to you when you arrive. Just gonna head off for a minute and make some tea. That's better. Nothing like a good old Kiwi herbal blend to sort the head out. Oh, well, look at this. Couldn't help themselves, could they? One last hurrah before we shut the place down. This really can't wait, mate. There's a little blue penguin population nesting not far from here, and they'll gladly take this for food. Okay, that looks manageable. Let's clean this up and take the photo. Then we can talk hunting again. Well, as you can imagine, being featured in a host of box office hits has done wonders for our profile with tourists. Problem is, a lot of the people who come are just here to take a few photos, dump a heap of rubbish, and then leave unceremoniously. So we end up with messes like this one. I'd like to say that we've become the victim of our own success, but that's letting me off the hook. Right, there should be a stand over on the other end of the beach with rubbish bags and a picker. We went to all the trouble of installing these, and they still couldn't be bothered. Looks like they had quite the little feast. These kids would have nightmares if you showed them some of what I've seen out here. Birds with stomachs so full of plastic they can't eat. South Island University. I knew it. Way too many people around here who have never respected this place. You can leave them over by the stand. There, spick and span. You made quick work of it. That's a perfectly usable tent. No sense wasting it. Anyway, I've had enough of this. And we need to ensure that we're attracting the right kinds of tourists, not just day trippers from Christchurch out on their school holidays. It's okay for people to come here and leave no trace, but it'd be better if we could rely on them to help us with our conservation goals. So hunters seem like the natural target audience. Our deer and goat populations need constant culling. And you better believe I've more faith in people who love the wilderness to respect the place than kids up to no good. At the risk of sounding like an old fusspot. Speaking of, let's do what we came to do and grab that photo. Lovely use of lighting. I may have to hire you to help out on my next book project, if I ever finish the current one. There's a lot of theories about where these boulders came from. Volcanic activity, lightning, even aliens. I've heard them all over the years. The boffins will tell you they were formed over 60 million years ago on the sea floor, like pearls. But that's not the whole story. When people first arrived in New Zealand, they took their staple crop with them, kumara, otherwise known as sweet potato. Unfortunately for them, the weather in this part of the country isn't exactly conducive to growing much, and the tubers withered and died. So they sent word to the Polynesian homeland, and a canoe set sail with a hardier crop. But it was caught in an intense storm just off the east coast. Each wave that struck it was so large that it made a new hill. Those are the ones you'll see further inland, and all of the cargo went overboard. And that's what these boulders are. Petrified kumara, eel baskets, calabashes. The canoe itself formed the reef further up. Moral of the story? Things have long shelf lives. A lesson I wish someone had taught those kids. Right, feeling warmed up? Good. It's time for you to show me what you can do. Camera on? Then you should have everything you need. I got Josh to set it up. He told me to tell you that it's state-of-the-art, equipped with Wi-Fi, so any footage you grab is automatically uploaded to our server. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I guess I'll be able to see it on here. No pressure then. There's good hunting in the whole of this area, from up around where you cleared out the props earlier to closer to the beach. Take your pick. But just one thing. We want it to show up nice on camera, so no minnows. Try for something at least 30 kg. The larger the better. Should be no problem for a hotshot like you. No word back from our friends in Hollywood regarding the props, by the way. My guess is that some townie thought it'd be a hoot to grab them for their crib. But I'm not keen on the idea of someone wandering around when we're supposed to be closed to visitors. Anyway, nothing you need to worry about right now. Just focus on those killer shots. You can surely do better than that, mate. Why don't you start with something with a bit more meat on its bones? a beaut. And that chase. Gonna make for some great footage. You're living up to your reputation, I'll give you that. A lot of people around here think that hunting's heyday peaked in the 70s and 80s. Back when you'd get scores of daredevils out in helicopters gunning down deer 3 at a time. That's not the done thing anymore, for a whole host of reasons. But these days we need hunters more than ever. And I'm glad I have you on board to help us show the world that. You've got a fan here, whore. Josh gave me a hand posting some footage from your hunt to the reserve chat group, and it caught the eye of our resident sharpshooter, Melanie Murphy. I grew up here, just west of the mountain range. We were a small community of outsiders living in sync with nature. No running water and only whatever electricity our generator could provide. Heading to the outpost. There should be a battery pack on the table. Melanie's the one who taught me to hunt. She's retired now, but back in the day she worked out on those helicopters with the best, or worst of them. Tough as nails and with a sharp tongue to boot. People from down in the local town used to call it a hippie commune, but I've never liked the term. It was about sustainable living first and foremost. We weren't just there to not shower and sing Kumbaya all day. I'd been meaning to get out there for ages, but then my legs started acting up again. Nice to have the help. We had a bit of a falling out 25 years ago. One of the choppers came down with us and it injured my leg. So when I say the place is part of me, I mean it. Mum's family can trace their lineage here to the 14th century, and we've accumulated a lot of stories over the years. I won't go into it. We should never have taken off that day, and Melanie knew it. Some of those are about an animal that holds a special place in my heart. Mafia, European settlers, released moose here about 100 years ago, and there haven't been any confirmed sightings since the 1950s. Well, these days we're cordial to each other, but not much else. But I swear to you, I saw one when I was little, staring straight at me out of a hazy morning mist. Ever since then, I've been determined to prove that they're still here. Anyway, my mum always told me to let bygones be bygones and all that. Melanie's a better hunter than I'll ever be, advanced age notwithstanding. So I'll do my best to pass on whatever I've learned from her grows. You're welcome. I've even written a book about it. Or am writing a book about it, I should say. I can't give it the conclusion it deserves yet. Right, back on track. Sorry to ask again, but I need you to do me a favour. No, it's not more cleaning up, don't worry. Get to the outpost I've marked on your hunter mate and I'll explain on the way. I don't hold out much hope anymore. I've got a few trail cameras scattered here and there. Usually just throw up deer herds and the occasional teenager behaving badly, but they're pretty low maintenance. One of them got knocked over and the battery's completely mounted, so I'd like you to switch it out if that's not too much trouble. It's on the way to our next filming destination. It's the camera turned toward the river. Just a little further up there. Cheers. That should keep it going for another few years. Can you check the other cameras while you're here? Might give you some stalking suggestions, if nothing else. When something shows up on these, 9 times out of 10 it's a stray deer. Between these little fellas and that props list, Christmas has come early this year. There's our missing props. But who? I don't honestly mind someone getting some use out of them as long as we're not deemed responsible. But that's a big bloody truck. There's no driving of anything larger than an ATV permitted in the reserve. Don't see any tracks, do you? Must have been a few days ago at the earliest. License plate's pretty clear at least. I'll do some detective work and let you know. I don't suppose you packed any swing togs, eh? Well, not to worry. Getting to our next destination involves a bit of spelunking, but a flashlight and some waterproof boots should be all you need. Head to the cave I've marked on your hunter mate. Unless you'd rather climb over those mountains. No? Didn't think so. Follow the river west and you'll eventually wind up at the cave mouth. The water's low right now, but it can still catch you by surprise. Stick to the walls and get that flashlight on. Easy does it. Is that what I think it is? Not sure if I should be horrified or impressed. Don't bother picking it up. I'll send someone with the proper equipment over later on. Wait, I know you're almost out, but indulge me for a minute. Take a look on your right. A little further ahead. This is why I live here. Go ahead. Get as close as you want. Just don't touch it. See the cracks in the surface? It's limestone, notoriously unstable. These cave paintings aren't going to be here forever, but I've made it my mission to ensure that we do everything we can to keep them around for as long as possible. Kids like Josh need to learn their history, right? It's part of what it means to be human. Knowing you come from something else, someone else. We call it whakapapa. It means genealogy, but also to place in layers. And those layers link us all. Everything ends up in the ground, bird or human or rock or deer. Anyway, that's enough philosophizing from me. Let's get you out of here. I'm sure you've never been so happy to lay your eyes on the wonderful Kiwi weather. Stretch those legs. Nothing like wandering through a damp, cramped cave to give you a new lust for life. Right, I hope you're not too worn out now. More filming's on the table, but first, can I trouble you to take a little detour? Let me explain. The beech trees here form one of the finest examples of native forest in all of New Zealand. In no small part due to the efforts of our resident conservationist Marama. We just had a mast year when they seed like crazy. And this means plenty of food for mice and rats, which in turn means plenty of food for other small pests. Beginning to see the problem? When the rats run out, those small mammals prey on native bird species. The pesky critters. We've used aerial TN80 poisoning to stave off the worst of them. But to slow their reintroduction, we need to get our hands dirty and lay down a few traps ourselves. It's time-sensitive work, and unfortunately, Marama's feeling a bit crook and had to stay home today. Can you take over for her? She's left them in a box near the target site. Conservation here is a constant tit-for-tat against these invasive mammal species. Our only indigenous mammals are 3 types of bats and some marine species. Everything else is a pest to a lesser or greater extent. Sometimes our methods can seem extreme. TN80 poisoning isn't without its naysayers, but it's one of the only tools we have to help protect the uniqueness of this place. Now, hunting helps too. I don't want to go back to the days of the helicopter wars, but having recreational hunters here year-round would go a very long way.